Like David, I'm a college professor. I work with both undergraduates and graduate students. In the last 5 years or so, I have seen a real change in my students and in the experience of being in the classroom. A great part of that change lies in the dissemination of information, the democratization of information. I am no longer the fountain of knowledge in the room. We have smartphones, we have laptops, we have access to whatever it is we want to know. This is a remarkable change, and it gives us the ability to touch upon so much, to reach into the past at any moment in our conversations, to find texts that connect with what we're talking about and how we're thinking and feeling. It is also completely overwhelming. And it is difficult for the young people, particularly the 18, 19, 20-year-olds I work with, to make decisions about what matters in this great field of possibility, to have priorities, to choose which bits of history matter to them, to which they can connect. This is a condition which seems to me infinitely subject to manipulation. It can be manipulated by those who wish to sell us things. It can be manipulated by governments. It can be manipulated by a president who lies not only frequently, but many times a day, as is clearly documented by fact-checking sources. In a time like that, I think it is most crucial that we choose what is it that we want to remember. To remember is an act of valuing, to say what matters to us, what do I wish to pass along, what story, image, truth. And for many years I was reluctant to employ that word, and I am no longer. What truth is it we wish to carry forward? In my country, I live in New York City, which is almost a country to itself, really, but we act as if sometimes we're part of the United States. The word wall has been on everyone's lips. Even though we know historically that walls do not succeed in dividing peoples, cultures, languages, classes, that walls do not separate countries, but in fact have continuing destructive results of other sorts than those intended. We now have a president who insists upon the construction of a wall, which it breaks my heart to be here and to think about a wall being built between my nation and this one. What an absurd thing to do. One image that I can hold on to in the face of that is the Berlin Wall and the fate of that wall. In 2009, the New York Times invited a number of poets to compose poems about the fall of the Berlin Wall for the 20th anniversary of that occasion. And for my poem, I began to think about the walls around me that I saw in the city, those plywood and metal constructions put around building sites where you would see permits and graffiti and posters, all kinds of things in place. Those were the most immediate and available walls. This is a short poem called The Lesson. A poem that wants to hang on to what happens when walls divide us and what might happen without them. The Lesson. Some workers put up a wall on 25th Street. Plywood sheathing a frame of 2x4s to seal the building they'd gut and remake. Then they added layers, stacked metal pipe bound with black webbing, a skim of permits, photocopied signatures far removed from whatever hand inscribed them. Then a blue expanding ladder, hydraulic, squatting its haunches. John took photos of the whole unlikely and elaborate composition, barrier, and advertisement. How could you not look at it with its tears and concealments? In this way, I began to see walls, decaled plexi between my face and the back of the cab driver's head, blue shroud on 16th like the robe of Venus rippling over the entrance of Pottery Barn, and inside of a grinder scouring away the stone. The insidious barrier, who could put their hands on it, dividing me and the dark young men on my corner, smoking by the door of the technical school. A story one of my teachers told, her voice slipping to a register we'd never heard in our room's calm rows. How a lover, desperate to reach his beloved on the other side, strapped himself beneath a car, face pressed up into the undercarriage, the back of his head inches above the pavement. How he tried to refuse with his own body the sundering of his city. Did he live? Did he ever arrive? I remember only my teacher beginning to weep. We didn't understand. What was the lesson? John's pictures brought that back. And how, decades later, the night they first scaled the wall, the people at the top reached down to pull the others up and shouted, "Come on, come on." When the guards turned the water cannons on them, they sprayed back from open bottles of champagne. Then the broken chunks appeared in the hands of those who loosened them, fragments glazed with sprayed inscriptions, scarred with sledgehammer and chisel, instruments of union, a demanding beauty about them. Whatever was scrawled, perhaps capable of realigning as words. In what language? Something barely spoken yet.